Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I got a fun one for you today, so stick around with me. I am going to prove once and for all that this old jarhead is actually human. Yes, Marines make mistakes, and well, you know, we all do, right? So stick around. I'm going to walk you through some of the mess ups I did on this log and the next one after it. And we're going to have some fun with it. Why not, right? So let's get right to it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to check the center height of the log like I always do. Stay tuned in the future though, because that may be changing in the very near future. I will fill you in on that when it happens. All right, let's get a cap cut done. We're going to make a cap cut, and those are kind of hard to get off the top of these logs. I'm going to check the band, see how we're doing. I've been using it a while. I decide, you know, I'm going to go ahead. I'll make another cut, as long as it's, you know, as long as I can get the head past here. We'll make a cut and see how she does. Seems to be cutting okay. So we get through it. Getting these big slabs off can be a challenge, folks, if you haven't done it before. But I decide, time to change the band.
You're not going to change the band, is it?
But it's starting to get a little bit, not bad right now, flying a little low, but I don't like it's a bit choppy, and it's starting to get a little wave to it. So change them out. All right, got the band off. Now we're just going to clean it up a little bit, and I always try to do this every time I change a band. Get out the air compressor, spray off all the sawdust, clean everything up. Clean the belts on the band wheels. If you've been running them about 50 hours or more, rotate them, drive side to idle side and back. You know, that just helps them wear evenly. And then we're going to roll this big guy around. Now, I often say I don't roll 180 degrees, right? But I do if I'm just slabbing. And when you've got a big wide log like this, you can only get away with trying to push it over the side supports in certain positions, and I decided in this case it would be better to have the flat bottom on the bunks and push it over those side supports. And you'll notice they're way down low, so I've pushed the log over the side supports, and now I'm going to start slabbing it down. So let's let it run a little bit. We'll get this guy slabbed down, and I'm going to come back to you well, when you'll see why. Look at that. I've got the cusper running over, tightening it up. It's getting so loose because of how wide I'm cutting. That band is really heating up. I can't pour enough lube to it, so we had to get it tightened up. And these are big, big slabs, right? 2 inches thick of still fairly wet pine, 26 inches wide. Those are heavy, big, heavy slabs. Now, here we go. I'm going to kick up my side supports, drop them back down again, try to push this log over. because there's a knot I'm trying to avoid. And did you see that right there? Bang, look at that. Oops. You see how bad that is? It was kicked off about 1/4 of an inch or so. It happens. Now I gotta wedge it up to try to get this band out. There I was just telling the customer I must have kicked it up over the stops a little bit when I did that. Oops. Now I'm gonna fire it up. I'm gonna try to just loosen some of the sawdust up. Don't grab that unless it's not running. Try to pull it back. Can't do it. I tell the customer to be careful right here. Now watch what happens. Oh! Don't do that. All right, now we got to get the band off the mill, get the mill head drawn back to get this fixed. What happens is when the band is turning, if you pull back,
Off the wheel. Walk right off. Hoping to use its momentum to
yeah,
eat through the
that's
dust.
all right, it happens. I've done that myself. That's how I know. You know, and I didn't realize it kicked this one up.
Yeah.
And I tried to move it over to give myself enough width on the other side. And I guess I bumped it over a little too far. We're only 26 inches wide here in the gully, so, you know, we're 27 on that knot. And I could do 27, but you've got to have it kicked over right. And I thought I had it. Damn it. I'll tell you what, though. Look at the money front. 26 inches wide.
The head will move.
Well, once you get it does take a little bit to get the band up there. Once you do, though, then you can work the band out. Should be able to lift it up a bit.
You want me to pull the band off the wheel here and get the wheel?
With the band off, it should lift up at this point. Now, band out. Now the trick is where you are. What we do is you gotta get this guy up here. You've got the debarker. You gotta work around the debarker. Yep, just like that. And then when you're ready for me to draw back a little bit.
I'm ready. Hold that.
Draw it on the guide arm. There you go.
Other side. Okay, hold that. Gotta get the other side.
Okay. Okay. Now we're clear. All right.
Step one.
All right. Now we think. Yep. One of the problems with the skinny curve. Yep. Okay. Time to get the band out. Might as well shut these cameras off. Sorry, folks, you don't get to see this part. Right? Band's reset. Okay. Sorry about not showing you that band change. You know, sometimes you just decide it's time to shut the cameras off. And we had to work that band to get it out. Once we got it out, I got it back on the mill. Get it all tightened up. Double check it right here. Now, we're back at it, and this guy is wide. So right there, I just took out that little bit that I had from my wedge cut where I'd cut in and then had to stop and pull the band back. So we just take about a 1/2 inch cut out so that we could take that little bit of slice that we had in there when we got caught up. Took that off, and now look at these big slabs. Those are heavy. All right, so now I'm trying to move this cant around a little bit so that I can make sure that I can make my last cut. But it really didn't sit very well like that. I managed to get it in a position again, but it's going to make it tough for me to get all the way to the deck. So I'm really pushing my width right here. That's okay. And right there I was just checking the smoothness of the cut, making sure we're still good, making sure the band's good. Look at how heavy that is. Okay, now I'm going to try to wiggle this around a little bit again to see if I can move it over to the left just a little bit more, just to give me enough to get past it. But I decided it was too risky. I didn't want to kick it up again. So I had him flip it over 180 degrees and went down, just kind of double checked where my log clamp was. I want to keep this clamped. A lot of guys say you don't have to. I don't actually agree with that. I know that in some cases you can get away with it. I've had situations where as I'm cutting, the cant has lifted, even on a wide one like this sometimes. So you just got to be careful. So I just checked where the log clamp was. It was good. Now, we're going to get this off the deck, take a short break, and then I'm going to come back and get another log on the deck, and I'll make another mistake just for you.
Take a break. That was fun.
Worked for that one. Yeah. That was supposed to be the easy one in 2-inch slabs.
Well, yeah.
Oh well.
It went good until we got into that 27, 28 inch range. And then we made it, but cut a little, we didn't cut real flat, but those will all have to get flattened out anyway. So big slab like that. But those are the, I call those the money shots.
Yeah. Not mine anyway.
Well, it's actually good for, you know, a lot of different things.
All right, log number 2, getting up on the deck. Another big fat ponderosa pine. It's a little bit shorter than the other one, and you'll notice I brought up my manual side supports. That's just out of abundance of caution. I want to make sure that this log doesn't go off the wrong side of the mill. And even though the hydraulic side supports actually were fine where they were, it's just out of habit for me. If the log's a little shorter, I'm always a little worried. So I just pick them up just so that I've got them. The log's not going to go where I don't want it to. And you notice that my log loader is still up halfway. That's intentional, folks. That's a safety measure. You don't load with the swing out bunks out in place. You get them out of the way when you load the logs so you don't damage them. And you leave your log loader halfway down so that if something happens and the log rolls back on you, then you're not going to have an issue. You really don't want that log rolling back on you and somebody's over there. They're going to get hurt. All right, here we go. Let's take the first slab off. We're going to get that off. And, you know, I'm going to let this run a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk a little bit about my next mistake that I made. So stick around. Let's get her done. Okay, have you seen what I did? I'm telling you folks, it was a comedy of errors. Yep, right there. I pulled a Dave. Ah, sorry Dave, just giving you a hard time. I left my hydraulic roller toe boards up. That was a near one. No excuse for that. Honestly, folks, if I could give you a good excuse, I would. Well, maybe I would. But let's be honest. That's a pretty silly mistake to make when it's the near end roller toe board. Maybe it was just one of those days where I just was going to have to make a few mistakes here and there. And that's one of them. So, of course, after I dropped it, got that fixed, of course, you got to take the top off. That'll clean that up. The right-hand side's wedged because it was up before that. So we'll have to clean that up too. That's okay. We're going to get it cleaned up. Didn't lose much out of the deal. Hey, I'm human. I make mistakes. So let's get this thing chopped down a little bit more, and I'll come back to you and tell you a little bit about what's going on in the future and what I've got to do to the mill, some issues I've had, some upgrades I'm going to do, and of course give you my final thoughts about this, well, these couple logs that we fought through. So let's sit back, let's get this one knocked down a little bit before I come back to you. All right, we're getting the flitches all edged, and for those that aren't kind of used to seeing that, you just run those flitch cuts up against the cant or a couple boards and square them up into whatever lumber that the customer's looking for or what you're looking for. And then of course, get that off the deck, and you've still got that last slab that I had, or that last cant that I had, that I need to finish off. So I've got to knock that down, and while I'm knocking that down for you, I'll just give you a little bit of heads up what's going on. So I've had some trouble with my hydraulics recently. A little bit of a pause going on at the beginning when I go ahead and hit a switch and try to load a log or roll them or something. And I'm going to go ahead, change all my hydraulic fluid, replace the hydraulic filter, and see if that works. If it doesn't, I may need to replace the brushes in the pump motor. Hopefully I don't, but if I do, well, then I'm going to have to do it. And then there's a company out there called Apenex, and they asked me if I wanted a laser for my sawmill. Awesome, sure, why not? So to make it easier for the install, I went ahead and ordered the shroud and mount and everything from Woodmizer. And since I already have a switch location on the mill for a laser, I'm going to use that. And I'm going to do the install of that new Apenex laser. I think it's a 50 milliwatt green laser. So I'll do that install sometime in the near future, maybe a month or so. And I'll bring that to you when I do it, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. Meanwhile, folks, if you like this one, check this other video out. And y'all have a great weekend. I really appreciate you being here. The old Jarhead out.